Ever wondered what $1 billion looks like on water? In Monaco's harbor, it's just another Tuesday. We're about to dive into the world of mega yachts that cost more than most people will see in a lifetime. Get ready to see how the 0.1% of the 1% live on the high seas. Lady Moura. Alright, let's kick things off with our number 10 spot. We're talking about Lady Moura, a yacht that's basically a floating gold mine. This bad boy is owned by Saudi billionaire Nasser al-Rashid, and it's worth a cool $210 million. That's more than most of us will see in our lifetime, but for these guys, it's just another day at sea. Lady Moura ain't your average boat. This thing is 105 meters long. To put that in perspective, it's about as long as a football field. You could probably play a full game on this yacht and still have room for a halftime show. Now let's talk about what makes this yacht special. First off, it's got a helicopter pad, cause why drive to your yacht when you can fly, right? But that's just the beginning. Lady Moura also has a swimming pool that's probably bigger than your entire apartment. And get this, the pool has a retractable roof. So if it starts raining, no problem. Just close that bad boy up and keep on swimming. But the real showstopper? The interior. This yacht is decked out in gold. We're not talking about a little gold trim here and there. Now we're talking about whole walls covered in gold. The railings, gold. The stairs, gold. Even the anchor is gold-plated. It's like King Midas went on a shopping spree and decided to buy a yacht. The name Lady Moura is actually displayed on the side of the yacht in 24-karat gold lettering. Because when you're this rich, why settle for regular paint, right? This yacht is so fancy, it makes other millionaires' boats look like rubber duckies in a bathtub. But here's the thing, Lady Moura ain't just for show. This yacht is equipped with some serious tech. It's got stabilizers that keep it steady even in rough seas. So while us regular folks are getting seasick on a calm day, the people on Lady Moura are sipping champagne without spilling a drop. And let's not forget about the crew. Lady Moura needs about 60 people just to keep it running. That's right, 60 people. That's more staff than some small companies have. But when you're dropping $210 million on a boat, I guess you can afford to hire a small army to keep it shipshape. Al Said, a floating palace that makes Lady Moura look like a dinghy. Al Said belongs to Sultan Qaboos bin Said of Oman. This guy ain't messing around when it comes to luxury. He dropped $300 million on this bad boy. That's right, $300 million. You could buy a small island for that kind of cash. But Sultan Qaboos was like, nah, I want a yacht. Now, let's talk size. Al Said is 155 meters long. Remember how Lady Moura was about as long as a football field? Well, Al Said could eat Lady Moura for breakfast and still have room for dessert. We're talking about a yacht that's longer than 1.5 football fields. It's so big, you might need a map just to find your way around. But size ain't everything. What makes Al Said really special is what's inside. This yacht has something you won't find on any other boat in the world. A concert hall. Yeah, you heard that right. A full-on concert hall that can host a 50-piece orchestra. Imagine being out in the middle of the ocean, sipping on champagne while a full orchestra plays just for you. That's the kind of luxury we're dealing with here. It's like having your own personal Sydney Opera House, but it floats. The concert hall ain't just some cramped room with a piano in the corner either. We're talking about a space that can fit 50 musicians and all their instruments. You could probably host a small music festival on this yacht if you wanted to. But that's not all. Al Said also has a cinema, because why not? When you're tired of live music, you can just pop over to catch a movie. It's like having your own personal entertainment complex, but on water. And let's not forget about the helicopter pad, because when you're this rich, you don't just sail into port like a regular person. You land on your yacht in a chopper, James Bond style. Now you might be thinking, how many people does it take to run a yacht this big? Well, hold on to your hats. Because Al Said needs a crew of 154 people. That's right, 154. That's more people than some small towns have. It's like having a small army just to keep your boat running. Eclipse. All right, we've seen some pretty wild yachts so far, but now we're stepping into a whole new league. Coming in at number 8 on our list is Eclipse, and this thing ain't just a yacht, it's a floating fortress. Eclipse belongs to Russian billionaire Roman Abramovich, and this guy didn't mess around when it came to his sea mansion. He dropped a cool $500 million on this beast. That's right, $500 million. You could buy a small country for that kind of cash, but Abramovich was like, nah, I want a yacht that could probably survive World War III. Now, let's talk size. Eclipse stretches 162.5 meters long. That's bigger than a US Navy destroyer. This thing is so massive it probably has its own zip code. When Eclipse pulls into port, other yachts probably start feeling a little insecure. But size ain't what makes Eclipse special. This yacht is all about security. Abramovich didn't just want a luxury boat, he wanted a floating bunker. Eclipse is equipped with a missile detection system. Yeah, you heard that right. While other billionaires are worried about paparazzi, Abramovich is ready for a full-on military assault. But the missile detection system is just the start. Eclipse also has bulletproof windows and armor plating. It's like Abramovich took one look at a regular yacht and said, "Make it James Bond." And get this, Eclipse has its own mini-submarine. You know, for those times when you need to make a quick underwater getaway. It can dive up to 50 meters deep. So if things ever get too crazy up top, Abramovich can just hop in his sub and peace out. The security doesn't stop there. Eclipse has anti-paparazzi shields. These are lasers that scan for camera lenses and then fire a beam of light at them, ruining any photos. So if you're thinking of sneaking a pic of Abramovich sunbathing, think again. But don't think Eclipse is all business and no play. This yacht has some serious luxury features too. It's got 2 helicopter pads, because one is just not enough when you're a billionaire. It's also got multiple swimming pools just in case you get bored of swimming in the same one all day. Inside, Eclipse is like a floating 5-star hotel. It's got 24 guest cabins, each with its own private bathroom. The master suite is basically an apartment with its own private terrace. And of course there's a disco hall, because what's the point of being a billionaire if you can't party in international waters? Eclipse also has a crew of 70 people, that's right, 70 people just to keep this floating fortress running smoothly. It's like having a small town's worth of people dedicated to making sure your yacht experience is perfect. Azam. Alright, we've seen some seriously impressive yachts, but now we're stepping into the big leagues. Coming in at number 7 on our list is Azam, and this beast ain't just big, it's fast. Azam belongs to Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the former president of the United Arab Emirates. This guy didn't just want a yacht, he wanted a speed demon that could outrun pretty much anything else on the water. And he was willing to pay for it, to the tune of $600 million. That's right, $600 million. You could buy a small country for that kind of cash, but Sheikh Khalifa was like, nah, I want a yacht that can break records. And break records it did. Azam is currently the longest yacht in the world, stretching an incredible 180 meters. That's longer than some cruise ships. This thing is so massive it probably has its own weather system. When Azam pulls into port, other yachts probably start feeling a little inadequate. But size ain't what makes Azam special. This yacht is all about speed. Most super yachts are content to cruise along at a leisurely pace, but not Azam. This beast can hit speeds of over 30 knots. That's fast enough to water ski behind it, if you're crazy enough to try. To put that in perspective, most yachts this size struggle to hit 20 knots. Azam is like the Usain Bolt of the yacht world. It leaves everything else in its wake. It's got engines that pump out 94,000 horsepower. That's more power than a small army of sports cars. But don't think Azam sacrificed luxury for speed. This yacht is decked out with all the amenities you'd expect from a $600 million floating palace. It's got multiple swimming pools, a gym, and even a golf training room. Because when you're zooming across the ocean at 30 knots, why not practice your swing? The interior of Azam is like something out of a royal palace. It's got a main salon that's 29 meters long and 18 meters wide, with no pillars. That's bigger than most people's houses, and it's all decorated in a style inspired by the Empire style of the early 19th century. So it's not just luxurious, it's classy. Azam also has some serious tech. It's got a missile defense system and a submarine escape pod, because when you're this rich and powerful, you can never be too careful. It's like Sheikh Khalifa looked at a Bond villain's lair and said, "Make it float." Now you might be wondering how many people it takes to run a yacht this big and fast. Well, hold on to your sailor hats, because Azam needs a crew of 80 people. That's right, 80 people just to keep this speed demon running smoothly. It's like having a small town's worth of people dedicated to making sure you can zoom across the ocean in style. Streets of Monaco. Just when you thought yachts couldn't get any crazier, we've got number 6 on our list, Streets of Monaco. This ain't just a yacht, it's a whole floating city. And get this, it's got a price tag of $1 billion. That's right, $1 billion for a boat. You could buy a small country for that kind of money, but some billionaire was like, nah, I want a miniature Monaco that floats. Now, let's talk size. Streets of Monaco is 508 meters long. That's more than 3 times the length of a football field. It's so big, you might need a map just to find your way around. When this thing pulls into port, other yachts probably start feeling like rubber duckies in a bathtub. But size ain't what makes Streets of Monaco special. This yacht is designed to be a floating replica of the city of Monaco. It's got everything you'd find in the real Monaco, but on water. We're talking buildings, streets, and even landmarks. It's like someone shrunk down Monaco and decided to make it seaworthy. Let's start with the casino. 'Cause what's Monaco without gambling, right? Streets of Monaco has its own mini version of the famous Monte Carlo casino, so you can lose millions at the poker table while cruising the Mediterranean. It's like Las Vegas met Waterworld, but fancier. But that's not all. This yacht also has its own hotel. That's right, a hotel on a yacht. It's got multiple swimming pools, tennis courts, and a spa. So if you get bored of your own room on this massive boat, you can just check into the hotel. It's like yacht inception. Now here's where it gets really crazy. Streets of Monaco has its own go-kart track. Yeah, you heard that right. A go-kart track on a yacht. It's a replica of the Monaco Grand Prix circuit. So while you're floating in the middle of the ocean, you can pretend you're Lewis Hamilton racing through the streets of Monaco. It's the kind of thing that makes you wonder if billionaires ever get bored. The yacht also has multiple cafes and restaurants, 'cause when you're spending $1 billion on a boat, you don't want to eat the same thing every day. There's even a beach club with a waterfall, you know, in case the actual ocean surrounding you isn't enough water. And let's not forget about the submarines, because every billion-dollar yacht needs its own fleet of submarines, right? Streets of Monaco has multiple mini-subs that you can use to explore the ocean. It's like having your own personal underwater expedition team. History supreme. This thing ain't just expensive, it's literally made of gold. History Supreme belongs to an anonymous Malaysian businessman. This guy didn't just want a yacht, he wanted the most valuable boat ever made, and he was willing to pay for it, to the tune of $4.5 billion. Yeah, you heard that right, $4.5 billion. That's more than the GDP of some small countries. Now, here's where it gets really wild. Most of the yachts we've seen so far are massive, but History Supreme is only 30 meters long. That's about 100 feet. To put that in perspective, it's shorter than a basketball court. But don't let its size fool you. This yacht packs more value per square foot than anything else on the water. So what makes this boat worth $4.5 billion? Well, it's basically a floating jewelry box. The entire boat is covered in precious metals. We're talking about 100,000 kilograms of gold and platinum. That's not just gold-plated, that's solid gold construction. The base of the yacht is wrapped in a thin layer of solid gold. Even the anchor is made of gold. But that's just the start. The dining area is made of pure platinum. Imagine eating your caviar off a table that's worth more than most people's houses. The railings, deck, stairs, all made of precious metals. It's like King Midas went on a yacht building spree. The master bedroom is where things get really crazy. It's got a wall made from meteorite rocks and a statue made from genuine Tyrannosaurus Rex bones. Yeah, you heard that right. This guy's got dinosaur bones on his boat. It's like Jurassic Park meets Goldfinger. The main bedroom has a 24-karat gold Aquavista panoramic wall aquarium. 'Cause when you're this rich, even your fish need to swim in luxury. The liquor bottle in the yacht is worth $4.8 million. It's got a massive diamond on it, so even when this guy's drinking, he's showing off his wealth. Now you might be thinking, how does this yacht even float with all that gold? Well, it's designed to be light enough to stay afloat despite all the precious metals. It's a masterpiece of engineering and excess. But here's the thing, some experts doubt whether History Supreme actually exists. There's no photographic evidence of it, and the details about its construction are pretty wild. Some people think it might be just a concept or a publicity stunt, but if it is real, it's by far the most valuable yacht ever made. The designer of History Supreme is Stuart Hughes, a guy known for making ridiculously expensive items for the super rich. He's made gold-plated iPhones and diamond-encrusted TVs. So a $4.5 billion yacht isn't totally out of character for him. The Rising Sun. This one's got a touch of Hollywood glamour. Say hello to the Rising Sun, owned by none other than David Geffen, the guy who co-founded DreamWorks. Yeah, the same dude who brought us Shrek and Kung Fu Panda also owns one of the most luxurious yachts in the world. Now, the Rising Sun ain't cheap. Geffen dropped $200 million on this floating palace. That's right, $200 million. For that kind of money, you could make a blockbuster movie or two. But Geffen was like, nah, I want a yacht that's bigger than most people's neighborhoods. And big it is. The Rising Sun stretches 138 meters long. That's about 1.5 football fields. When this thing pulls into port, other boats probably start feeling a little inadequate. It's like the yacht equivalent of a Hollywood mansion, but on water. But size ain't everything. What makes the Rising Sun special is all the crazy luxuries packed inside. Let's start with the wine cellar. Because when you're cruising the Mediterranean, you need options for your vino. This ain't just a little wine fridge either. We're talking about a full-on cellar that can hold enough bottles to keep a small country tipsy for a year. And if all that wine makes you want to work out, no problem. The Rising Sun has its own gym. It's probably bigger and better equipped than your local fitness center. You can pump iron while looking out at the ocean. It's like being on a cruise ship, but without all the other people getting in your way. After your workout, you might want to relax. That's where the onboard spa comes in. Yeah, a spa on a yacht. You can get a massage, hit the sauna, or just chill in the jacuzzi, all while floating in the middle of the ocean. It's like a floating wellness retreat, but way more expensive. But that's not all. The Rising Sun has a basketball court that doubles as a helicopter pad, because sometimes you want to shoot some hoops, and other times you need to land your chopper. It's all about options when you're this rich. Inside, it's all luxury all the time. The Rising Sun has 82 rooms spread out over 5 levels. That's more rooms than some hotels have. Each level is connected by a glass elevator, because stairs are for poor people, I guess. The bathrooms on this yacht ain't your average loos either. They're decked out in onyx. Yeah, that semi-precious stone. Even the sinks are carved from onyx. It's like peeing in a jewelry store, but hopefully more hygienic. Now, you might be wondering how many people it takes to run a yacht this big. Well, the Rising Sun needs a crew of 45 people. That's right. 45 people just to keep this floating movie studio running smoothly. It's like having a small production team dedicated to making sure your yacht experience is picture perfect. But here's where it gets really Hollywood. The Rising Sun has hosted more celebrities than the Oscars. We're talking about Oprah, Leonardo DiCaprio, Jeff Bezos, and even the Obamas. It's like a floating VIP lounge for the rich and famous. Dilbar is owned by Russian billionaire Alisher Usmanov. This floating palace cost a cool $600 million. That's right, $600 million. For that kind of money, you could buy a small island, but Usmanov was like, nah, I want a yacht that makes other billionaires jealous. Dilbar ain't just expensive, it's massive. This beast stretches 156 meters long. That's about 1.5 football fields. When Dilbar pulls into port, other yachts probably start feeling like rubber duckies in a bathtub. It's so big, it's got its own zip code. Okay, not really, but you get the idea. Now, size is impressive, but what really sets Dilbar apart is what's inside. This yacht has the largest indoor swimming pool ever installed on a yacht. We're not talking about some little splash pool either. This thing is 180 cubic meters of pure luxury. That's bigger than most people's entire apartments. You could probably fit a whole water polo team in there and still have room for a few mermaids. But the pool ain't just for show, it's heated and can be filled with fresh or salt water. So whether you're cruising the Mediterranean or the Arctic, you can always take a dip. And get this, the pool has a glass ceiling, so you can do the backstroke while looking up at the stars. It's like swimming in space, but way more expensive. Dilbar ain't just about the pool though. This yacht is packed with more features than a Swiss Army knife. It's got 2 helicopter pads, cause one is just not enough when you're this rich. There's also a sauna, a beauty salon, and a gym. It's like a floating spa resort, but without all the other guests getting in your way. The interior of Dilbar is pure luxury. We're talking about more than 1,000 sofa cushions. Yeah, someone actually counted them. The walls are covered in rare woods and luxury leathers. Even the bathroom fixtures are made of marble. It's like every inch of this yacht was designed to remind you how rich you are. Now, you might be wondering how many people it takes to run a yacht this big. Well, Dilbar needs a crew of 96 people. That's right, 96 people just to keep this floating palace running smoothly. It's like having a small army dedicated to making sure your caviar is served at the perfect temperature. But here's where it gets really crazy. Dilbar has its own power plant. Yeah, you heard that right. This yacht generates 30,000 kilowatts of electricity. That's enough to power a small town. So while the rest of us are worried about our phone batteries dying, Usmanov could probably power half of Monaco from his yacht. And let's not forget about the tech. Dilbar has more advanced systems than some countries' navies. It's got stabilizers to keep it steady in rough seas, so you don't spill your champagne. There's also a state-of-the-art security system, because when you're this rich, you can never be too careful. Now you might be thinking, how fast can this thing go? Well, despite its massive size, Dilbar can cruise at 22.5 knots. That's about 26 miles per hour for you landlubbers. Not too shabby for something that's basically a floating city. But speed ain't everything. Dilbar is all about luxury and comfort. It's got 20 passenger cabins spread out over 5 decks. Each cabin is probably bigger and fancier than most hotel suites. And the owner's suite? It's got its own private deck, so Usmanov can sunbathe without worrying about the paparazzi catching him in his Speedos.